Here's an example in which logs are stacked in a pile where the bottom row has 89 logs, the next row has 85 logs, the following row has 81 logs, and the pattern continues until the top row has 37 logs. How many logs are in the pile? All right, so basically we're supposed to add up the numbers 89 plus 85 plus 81 until the top row, which has 37. So you know the trick, right? We write the list forwards and backwards. So backwards it would be 37. Looks like it's going up by 4 every time, right? Down by 4, up by 4, same thing. So 4 until the last one is 89, and then we add these up. Getting the hang of this, that's the trick. We write the list forwards and backwards, and I noticed the list was going down by 4 every time. Every time that list was going down by 4. So I went up by 4. And so now if we add up the list, what's that going to be? I'm going to use my calculator. 89 plus 37. I'm getting 126. And if you add this up, same total, right? This always works because one of the lists is going up by 4, the other is going down by 4, or vice versa, down by 4, up by 4. So it's going to hold the same total all the way through. All right, how many 126s do we have? That's, excuse me, that's the big question. So, how many 126s, and we're going to need to divide by 2 at the end because we have the list twice, forwards and backwards, right? Okay, so if we can figure out how many 126s, we can just multiply. How many 126s? Well, to figure that out, we're going to need the formula. So let's find the formula. Find the formula. So we start with 89, then 85, then 81, okay, etc., all the way down to 37. So, and then we need the pattern. So you remember the pattern. This is just 89. This is 89 subtract 4, huh? See how we're going down by 4? This is went down, subtract 4, and then we subtract 4 again, and etc. So the 81, we start with 89 and we subtract 4 twice. So this is the, so remember you need the term number, and over here you need the pattern, the path, like how we got there. Okay, so what's the plan here? So the first term, second term, third term, and we want to know nth term, we don't know. Okay, so this term is 89 minus 2 times 4. This is 89 minus 1 times 4. So the term number, and then that's 1 lower, isn't it? The term number, and that's 1 lower. So it's always 1 lower. So basically it's 89 minus n minus 1 times 4. Does that make sense? Whatever is here, in this case n, this is 1 lower, n minus 1. See how that fits? 3, 1 lowers 2, 2, 1 lowers 1, so n, 1 lowers n minus 1. Okay, so basically we're saying 37 is 89 minus n minus 1 times 4. Solve for n. Find the nth term. Like, what term is that? Is that the 10th term, the 50th term, the 29th term? And then we'll know how many terms, right? Because whatever term number that is, that's how many terms, because this is the first term, this is the second term, this is the third term, this is the nth term. If we find out what that n is, we'll know how many terms there are, and that'll be how many 126s we have, and we can finish up this problem. So solve for n. So subtract 89. Now you might think add, but that's a positive 89, right? So the opposite is to subtract. If you subtract there, you get minus 52. I'm going to put that 4 in the front to make it easier. it's a minus 4, right? Because you get the minus sign and the 4. It's a minus 4. So you got to divide by minus 4 here. And that's 13, I think, right? Yeah. And then last step, add 1. Boom. And is 14. So there's 14 terms. So there's 14 terms there. So that means how many 126s? So bring it up here. The total equals 14 times 126, right? Because this is the 14th term. That's what we just found with that work we did for n down there. 14 terms, n came out to be 14. So there's 14 terms. So the 14th, this 37 is the 14th term. There's 14 terms there. So it's 14 times, and each of these adds up to be 126. So it's 14 times 126, but don't forget, divide by 2. Why? We divide by 2 because it's the list twice, right? Because it's forwards and backwards. So it's the list twice. We got to divide by 2 in the end. So what do we get? Let's see. I'm getting 882. So the total number of logs must be 882. So running over, how do we do that? We basically we have to add up 89, 85, 81, all the way to 37. So we reverse the list, added them up. It's a bunch of 126s. We had to find out how many, which means we got to find out how many terms, because every term leads to another 126. So we said, well, this is the first term, second term, third term. This 37 is the nth. What is that? Well, we found the formula for that, which came out to be 89 minus n minus 1 times 4. And I want to know the 37 is what term. So I put in a 37, solve for n. N is 14, so that's the 14th term. So there's 14 terms there. So there's 14 126s, but then divide by 2 because that's the list twice. 882 logs.